Hello everyone, welcome to another Wizardry 101 tutorial. I'm Shrekken, I'm your professor of wizardry today, and this is going to be the third tutorial in the series. This one is going to cover all the basic elements and status effects. What it's not going to cover are combos or spell forms. Those are going to come later. You need to understand what these elements do so that you can make your own combos and understand what you're doing. So let's go ahead and get started here. We're going to go from Q to F in order, and then we're going to talk about the status effects after. So, Q, what does Q do? Q pushes people around, and it gets them wet. You can see these little water droplets coming off. How do you tell if you're wet? Well, you listen. When you walk, you make a splooshy sploosh noise. That's how you tell. Also, you see the water droplets coming off you. What about life? What does life do? Life heals you. That's what life does. Pretty self-explanatory. What about shield? What does shield do? Well, by itself, shield makes a big dome that reflects beams. If you try and hit somebody with a beam and there's a shield in the way, they'll get knocked over. Really handy. What else does shield do? Shield blocks sprays. Any kind of spray doesn't go through. Look how far this goes if there's no shield. See? Now anywhere, and now it's not, and on the domes, it's anywhere inside a shield either. This does no damage. Like if I put this over Timmy, and then I try and spray Timmy, Timmy takes no damage. Okay? If you're in the bubble, your sprays don't work, and your beams will knock you over. How about cold? What does cold do? Cold does a little bit of damage, but more importantly, it chills you. It makes your animations take longer, and it makes you move slower so you can catch people. Now, if you do a cumulative of 250 cold damage, you will freeze your target, and I'll show you that on Timmy. This is frozen. Timmy can't move, and Timmy can't take any damage other than physical damage, and it has to be a large amount of burst physical damage. After a little bit of time, frozen will just go away. If you want to get rid of frozen faster, you spam your left click. If you're frozen and you can't move, you left click as fast as you can. Once you click 10 times, you'll no longer be frozen. Alright, moving on. Lightning. Lightning mini stuns your target. Also does damage. Now, the more lightning elements you put in your spell, the more shocks you will get. So a 1 lightning spell will shock once. A 3 lightning spell will shock 3 times. Now, I should note that if you are charging a spell, sorry, bad example, if you are charging a spell like this, and you get lightning shocked, you can't hold the spell anymore and you'll immediately release it. Doesn't matter what direction you're looking. So if somebody is like going away from you and they're charging a rock and they're going to turn around and hit you with it, zap them with lightning and they'll let the rock go. That also works with icicles. Arcane. Now, basically what Arcane does is it adds damage to things. There's really no other good way to do it. It doesn't have any status effects associated with it. Doesn't stun anybody. Doesn't do anything like that. It just hurts. Look how much it hurts. Starts small, starts to get real bad. So if you add Arcane to any one of your spells, it's going to add damage. What does Rock do? Rock makes missiles. And they hurt. Fully charged Rock missile does 600 damage. Pretty snazzy. Now how about Fire? What does Fire do? Fire, not only does it do damage, but it puts a damage over time on whatever you hit it with, and the damage over time does a lot of damage. It does ticks damage every half a second, and it does 30 for a little bit, then it does 20 for a little bit, and then it does 10 for a little bit, and then it stops. It's a lot of damage. Let's demonstrate. 30, 30, 30, 20, 20, 20, 10, 10, 10, and enough. That's a lot of damage. Now, what happens if someone's on fire and you hit them with more fire? Well, in addition to doing the base fire damage that all fire does, it'll refresh their damage over time cycle. So I'll demonstrate. Let's heal up our training dummy here so I can give you the full effect. So if I put our guy on fire, look, 30, 30, 30, 20, 20, 20, 10, I fire him again, see, refreshes it all the way up to 30 and then it keeps ticking down. That's what fire does. So, if you are on fire, if you are chilled, or if you are wet, how do you get rid of it? I will use mines to make myself wet. Now I am wet. Sploosh, sploosh, sploosh. You can hear it. Now I have 2 options to get rid of this. I can either I'm sorry, I have one option to get rid of this. I have to use fire in a self-cast, like this. I am no longer wet. Now, the same holds true for cold. I put some cold mines. Now I am chilled. I move slow, and you can see the little cold puffies coming off me. Fire in a self-cast, I am no longer cold, or chilled. That's called chill. There's different stages of chilled until you get frozen. Then you're really chilled. Now, what if you're on fire? If you are on fire, you have two options. You can either use water to put yourself out, or you can use cold to put yourself out. Either one, and you will be good to go. Now, this is not like the original Magic, where using fire in a self-cast makes you hurt. It doesn't hurt you. Using cold on yourself doesn't chill yourself, and using water on yourself does not make you wet. So, those of you who are original Magicka players, don't worry about that. It doesn't do that anymore. Alright guys, now let's talk about status effects in a little bit more detail, and that's wet. Being wet or wetting somebody is actually extremely potent, and I'll explain why. If a wizard or an entity is wet, they will take double damage from lightning and cold for 0.5 seconds after the damage is dealt. So, if I get somebody wet and I use lightning on them, from the first tick of lightning damage, they will receive double damage for 0.5 seconds. So any additional damage from cold or lightning that you can do in that 0.5 seconds, it will be doubled. Once 0.5 seconds is up, they are no longer wet. I will demonstrate. So he's not wet anymore. Works for cold too. One more important thing about being wet, you guys, is that if you are wet, you can't cast lightning. So here I am, I'm wet. I'm fighting you. Lightning! Oh, I shocked myself. So be aware of that. You don't want to do that. That's bad. One other thing you should note is that if somebody is chilled or cold, you can't get them wet again. It doesn't work like that. There we go. He's chilled. I can push him around, but he's not wet. So that covers the basic elements and the status effects that you can have in Magicka Wizard Wars. Thank you for coming and joining me. Part 4 of this tutorial is going to come up real soon. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you like these videos and that you find them helpful. If you don't find them helpful or I've confused you in any way, please let me know in the comments, and I will try and straighten it out for you. If you'd like to keep learning, please come and join me at twitch.tv/ArchmageShrekken, all one word. That link is in the video description below. And it's also in my YouTube profile. Just look around for it, you'll find it. Stay tuned for more tutorials, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye-bye.